Good evening and welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Tamiru Nimsa. Let's have a look at the headlines. Devotees flock to see the sacred tooth relic after 16 years. Tourist arrivals exceed the 800,000 mark for this year. News in detail. Today is the fourth day of Sri Dalda Vandanava, a special veneration of the sacred tooth relic which is being held in a lapse of after 16 years. Officials say at least over 300,000 devotees were fortunate to get a close look and worship the sacred tooth relic during the first 3 days of the exposition.
The temple of the sacred tooth relic is a world-renowned place of worship where the left tooth of Gautama Buddha is enshrined. The temple, which is venerated by thousands of local and foreign devotees and tourists daily, was named as a World Heritage by UNESCO in 1988. The devotees have been facilitated to arrive the sacred premises in 3 queues, and our reporters say all 3 queues are only becoming longer. The city of Kandy has been decorated with Buddhist flags, while a large number of dansals are taking place to provide the devotees with food and drink. The government, the management of Dalada Maligawa and the philanthropists in the area have already taken steps to provide the necessary facilities for the devotees. On the very first day of the exposition, President Andru Kumara Disanayaka, over 40 foreign diplomats from countries including India, the UK, Japan, Canada and Egypt participated in the inaugural ceremony. Public veneration of the relic will be conducted until the 27th of this month daily from 12 mid-noon to 5 p.m. in the evening.
Sri Lanka's Purchasing Managers Index for March 2025 showed significant growth in both manufacturing and services sectors, with manufacturing reaching its highest value in 4 years and services reflecting a substantial expansion.
The manufacturing PMI surged to 63.9, driven by sharp increases in new orders and production, particularly in food and beverages and textiles and apparel. Employment and stock purchases also expanded, aligning with rising production demands. However, concerns remain among export-oriented manufacturers among uncertainties in global trade despite positive expectations for the next quarter. Meanwhile, the services PMI reached 69.8, indicating considerable growth across various sectors. Wholesale and retail trade benefited from strong festive demand, while financial services saw improvements due to increased lending activity. Sectors like accommodation, food and beverage and insurance also contributed to this growth. New businesses rose significantly, fueled by expansions in key service areas, alongside an uptick in employment due to seasonal recruitment.
Sri Lanka's tourism industry continues its strong recovery, with nearly 94,000 visitors arriving in the first half of April 2025, pushing the total arrivals for the year to over 816,000 so far. The first half of April saw 93,915 arrivals, marking a 13.42% year-on-year increase compared to 2024.
The boost brings the year-to-date total to 816,191 tourists, reflecting a 14% year-on-year growth. Average daily arrivals in April have risen to 6,261, up from 5,520 last year. India remains the top source market, contributing 18,220 tourists in the first 15 days of April, followed by the UK with 11,425 and Russia with 8,705. Other significant contributors include Germany, Australia and France. With a target of 224,710 visitors for April and ambitious annual goals of 3 million tourists in over $5 billion in foreign exchange earnings, the tourism industry is set for substantial growth in 2025. Sri Lanka's tourism sector is showcasing resilience and promise as strategic efforts continue to draw visitors from around the world.
Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. The Sri Lanka Export Development Board held a stakeholder consultation to address concerns of the newly imposed 44% reciprocal tariff by the United States on Sri Lankan exports. The meeting focused on assessing the impact and identifying mitigation strategies to protect key export industries.
Chaired by EDB Chairman Mangala Vijayasinghe, the consultation brought together trade associations and chambers to discuss the tariff hikes implications. The government has already engaged in diplomatic discussions, submitted appeals, and planned a delegation to negotiate further. Exporters expressed significant concerns about potential losses in key sectors including apparel, rubber, tea, spices, and gem and jewelry. The apparel sector, being the largest exporter to the US, was highlighted as particularly vulnerable, with some exporters reporting delayed orders from US buyers. Proposals included enhancing diplomatic efforts, leveraging IMF engagements for the relief measures, and diversifying export markets into Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Africa.
The Industry and Entrepreneurship Development Ministry has launched a comprehensive reform agenda to revitalize Sri Lanka's industrial sector and address challenges faced by small and medium-sized enterprises. Deputy Minister Chaturanga Besinghe provided a detailed update on the first quarter's progress, emphasizing practical reforms and strategic initiatives on social media recently.
Key actions highlighted include restructuring state-owned enterprises like BCC Lanka and the National Salt Corporation, backed by a 13 billion rupee industrial revival budget. Sector-specific reforms such as VAT exemptions on pharmaceutical raw materials and the coconut industry recovery program were also prioritized. A major initiative addresses the SME credit crisis, enabling banks to provide capital to non-performing loan customers without restrictions. This measure aims to revive over 12,000 distressed but viable SMEs. The ministry has begun structural reforms across agencies like the National Enterprise Development Authority and the Export Development Board, aiming for efficiency through an integrated framework to be implemented in June.
Sri Lanka's electronic and electrical industry marked a milestone as IPC India, in collaboration with the Export Development Board, hosted a wire harness competition and technical session recently.
The event, held at the DHPL auditorium, brought together over 80 participants from Sri Lanka's electronics and electrical sectors. Conducted by Master IPC trainer Krishna Kumar, the program combined interactive lectures, practical workshops, and a competition in wire harness best practices, with participants receiving valuable IPC certifications. The session focused on critical aspects like IPC standards, soldering techniques, and product quality requirements, addressing the growing demand for high-speed, reliable connectivity in industries such as aerospace, automotive, and telecommunications. Sri Lanka's electronic industry has steadily grown due to skilled labor, a favorable business environment, and government support. With a projected global cable assembly market value of $243.40 billion by 2029, Sri Lanka is positioning itself as a key player in this sector.
Stay tuned for stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. The All Share Price Index dropped by 16.96 points to close at 15,599.61, and the S&P SL20 dropped by 3.02 to close at 4,621.22. The turnover was over 2.3 billion rupees and over 135 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all our news for today. For For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care and good night.